Pro-Line Racing has done it again, this time with a four-wheel drive monster truck roller. Have they hit a home run? And stay tuned later in this video where I pull out my Tekno MT410 and compare it side by side to the new ProMT 4x4. Let's unbox this thing and check it out. Rich here from the rcnetwork.com, and today we're going to be unboxing the brand new Pro-Line Racing ProMT 4x4. This of course is their newest 1/10 scale four-wheel drive monster truck, and this of course the pre-built roller kit. So you basically have to just install your own electronics, paint the body, drop a battery in, and drive this thing. Now, if you haven't heard of Pro-Line Racing before, you've probably been under a rock or in a time capsule for like the last 20 or 30 years. Of course, Pro-Line Racing is definitely famous for their tires and their bodies and all of their accessories for a lot of our vehicles on the market. Well, a couple of years ago, they actually came out with their own roller chassis, the Pro SC. They also made a buggy version and also a monster truck version, but all were two-wheel drive. Now, fast forward to 2017, they've unveiled the ProMT, the 4x4 version. I love this thing. And of course, 1/10 scale. I can't wait to crack this box open and get this thing all ready to go and run this thing. For years, Pro-Line has basically been making our RTR vehicles better. They've been giving us wheels and tires and shocks and bodies and all sorts of bits and pieces just to make our items stronger, durable, have more control, have more power and impact. And right there on the side of the box, you're seeing all of the key features of this ProMT 4x4. So it does use pivot ball suspensions. It does have 3 differentials that are geared and fluid fillable. It does use Mod 1 gearing. Control with the precision steering, aluminum pivot blocks. You do have an aluminum motor mount system, balanced weight distribution, and then finally performance shocks. Now, if you haven't heard of Power Stroke shocks or Pro Spec shocks, probably one of the best aftermarket shocks on the market, and they've installed even larger bore shocks. These are 16 millimeter shocks on this ProMT 4x4. Now, what all the rage is these days are these short wheelbase monster trucks, because you're able to do flips and tricks and back flips and front flips and really control these things in the air with the large rotational wheels, and of course the short wheelbase definitely helps. And if you didn't already know, you can of course pick up optional equipment like different wheels and tires, different bodies to suit your style, but this does include some pretty good tires and wheels and also the Sentinel clear body. Before we crack into the box, a quick look at the model number, but as always, a link in the video description so you can check it out for yourself. And if you didn't already know, you can use coupon code RCNetwork10 and save 10% off of this kit and anything else at ProLineRacing.com. All right, now for the moment of truth, let's crack this thing open. I always love opening up new kits and new RTRs and even rollers like this, and can't wait to check out how they've packed it right there. Let's go ahead and spill some stuff out and take a look up close. Spilling everything out onto my work table here. Of course, we have some good stuff like the ProMT 4x4 off to the side. Let's take a look at some of the supplement items that come inside of your pre-built roller. Starting off with a labeling correction for the motor mount. Now, this uses a slightly different motor mount system. Uses little tabs on the bottom, so you pretty much don't have to worry about setting your mesh. Now, I'm not going to be a fan of this. I can already tell right off. I'm a huge sliding motor mount fan. We'll have to see how this works. You get a bag with some decals and window masks for the included Sentinel body. Inside the parts bag, you get quite a few items, including a 17 millimeter plastic wheel wrench and also a 3 millimeter Allen key, foam blocks probably for your battery, all of those motor mount tabs that we talked about earlier, a whole bag of hardware including a 16 tooth Mod 1 pinion, a big flexi antenna tube, a bag with additional pistons and some servo horns for 24, 25 and 23 tooth, and finally some 17 millimeter wheel nuts. These are nice and capped and have the Pro-Line logo right on the outside. They are aluminum and they are serrated to hold your wheels with a vengeance. Finally, in the supplemental bag, you get a very nice owner's manual, and Pro-Line does a great job of not only illustrating, but also explaining in English what everything is. They have a very good way of explaining everything, and I definitely like their owner's manuals. Now, although this is not a step-by-step manual, it does give you exploded views towards the end that explain all of the parts and how they go together. They also list model numbers for each part, so ordering items from ProLineRacing.com will be super easy. Now, what's so nice about Pro-Line kits is you actually get like an upgrade inside of the box. You get a set of their 2.8-inch Badlands. These are the MX28 versions. These things are very wide and have a great tread pattern for almost any type of monster trucking that you want to do. Looking at them up close, you can definitely see the motorcycle inspired tread design. They just have a great design, and they definitely have lots of traction. They have like a pretty soft compound as well. And of course, like I said, 2.8 inch is the size of these things, and the overall size they're saying on the tire is 5.05 inches in height. Now, the ProMT 4x4 was actually attached to this cardboard little graphic right here. This is pretty cool. I really like that they kind of included this little item. Probably going to hang it up here in the shop. And finally, here is where the ProMT 4x4 pays off. Here it is, the actual pre-built roller, all pretty much ready for your electronics and painting up the body here. Really like the Sentinel body. Now, it's a very thick body. Now, this is aftermarket. This is not something that should come on kind of like a ready-to-run type of vehicle. This is already an upgrade inside the box. You also have their secure lock little tabs right here. No more body clips. These things hold on great. They have a little rubber grommet inside there just to keep everything perfectly tight on your vehicle. Quickly looking at the Sentinel body, it is thick. I mean, there's no thin portion on this thing, even down here where typically bodies will be very thin. This thing is thick. I also like that it's pre-cut, already has the body mounts already drilled out. I mean, this thing is ready for paint. Wash it up, throw on your window decals, and get this thing some great blue color. So looking at the chassis layout here without the body on, it looks top quality. I can't complain whatsoever. I mean, from the very nice large bore 16 millimeter threaded body aluminum shocks, you have plastic caps and some other bits and pieces, but they definitely look stout. Very impressed with the shocks so far. Now, we do have a pivot ball suspension type of layout. Those have been tried and proven for lots of monster trucks out there. A lot of guys are starting to go to pivot balls or pillow ball suspension. They tend to drive pretty predictably when you're out on the track. Now, moving back here, the first thing that just jumps to my attention is the forward mounted center differential. This thing's very forward. I mean, this is right behind the steering rack. I haven't seen that quite so much in any type of monster truck or even like an 8-scale buggy layout. Typically they're in the center, which means center differential, or they're very far back here, like the Tekno MT410, the S-Works Zeus, all has like a very rearward mounted center differential. Now, the motor mount is quite impressive, at least from the top portion right here. It has like a cradle right here to cradle either a 550 size or an 8-scale motor. You bolt your motor straight onto this motor plate, and adjusting the motor pinion mesh is actually done on the underside here with those motor tabs. There's different tabs showing you which one is for what size of Mod 1 pinion. You pick the right tabs, you drop them on, and your motor mesh is set perfectly. Speaking of the aluminum chassis, it goes from front to back. This thing is pretty nice. It has like a bend right here going up to the side guards, and you do have some pretty good coverage on here, especially on the front bumper. You have kind of like a skid guard going all the way up, as well as the rear right here with just some corrugations right here to let some of the debris kind of flow. Looking at the battery tray, you have some pretty good room for a good size 4-cell LiPo. You can probably probably fit a 6 in here if you really want to run that much. I think on 4-cell or 3-cell, this will be perfect. Looking at the rear of the ProMT 4x4, a very, very nice rear chassis brace. This thing is solid. It's not going anywhere. And it's actually attached on the steel bar that's running from stem to stern. There's actually a little inset into the aluminum chassis where a steel plate actually about 10 millimeters in width and a little bit thin, but it's running all the way down just to stiffen everything up. Finally, looking at some of the driveline, we do have CVDs on both front and rear. We have some pretty large turnbuckles right here, and then also front and rear sway bars. Now, did I forget to mention these are running on 17 millimeter hexes, and they adapt straight to those 2.8-inch wheels. Looking at the aluminum suspension holders, yes, I said aluminum. There are 6 of them. Typically, you have an A, B, C, and D block, but this also has the upper mounts right here for the pivot ball suspension. All are machined aluminum. They are very, very nice, I've got to say. Now, the sway bars on front and rear are very thick. They're like almost like a 3 millimeter steel bar, so quite thick as far as the sway bars. And then also looking at the driveline, I just gave it a spin right here, just spinning all 4 wheels. The driveline is very, very smooth. Just a simple twist right here at the 17 millimeter hex, and all 4 hexes are moving. Center differential, everything is just spinning. Looking into the servo mount, I was a little worried about how thin this was right here, and it's not plastic. Thank God, this is actually aluminum. You are bolting into plastic. There's a plastic little kind of nut capture right there, but overall you're bolting still into aluminum, and everything looks pretty stout for the servo mount. Looking at the side guards, it's pretty thick. I mean, it's almost like a 2-inch high side guard. I love the graphics on there. ProMT 4x4, Pro-Line. It has kind of like a mock cutout design right there. I believe on the ProMT two-wheel drive, they were cut out just to dissipate some heat. So finally, let's talk scale. Now, the RC industry is just plagued with lots of scale issues. What is a 10 scale? What is an 8 scale? Everyone always wonders, and some of the RC companies label things incorrectly, and it makes all of us wonder, do I have an 8 scale or do I have a 10 scale? So I've been asked on social media, do I prefer the ProMT 4x4 or the Tekno MT410? Well, they're not the same size. Now, this is a 1/10 scale 4-wheel drive monster truck, and so is the Tekno, but if you really look at the two together, they're quite different. There you go. So ProMT 4x4, and this is the Tekno MT410. Quite a bit of difference. This is pretty much an 8 scale. It uses 17 millimeter hexes, 17 millimeter shocks, but you know, Pro-Line used 17 millimeter hexes and 16 millimeter shocks. So very similar, but you can definitely tell a difference in size, which is quite a bit. And a quick look with the bodies on, you can definitely tell there's quite a bit of difference. The Tekno MT410 body is quite larger. It's meant for like your Revos and some of the larger T-Max and E-Max vehicles. The Sentinel body is definitely for 1/10 scale. Well guys, that is my quick unboxing of the brand new Pro-Line Racing ProMT 4x4. Can't wait to drop some electronics on this and really see what it can do. And I'm really happy about the size of this thing. It's definitely a little bit smaller than some of the larger 8 scales, but I don't think it lacks anything in durability or the power or anything else in this ProMT 4x4. Well guys, that is it for now. Comments, questions on down below, and as always, thumbs up and subscribe. That's it for now guys. Over now.